my view, are firstly to prioritize development of infrastructure to support net centricity. Then is the convergence of networks. In fact, the DEFCON 2010, when we devoted the entire seminar to this aspect of convergence, because to achieve full spectrum interoperability, we have to have, or we have to adopt a network of networks approach. Development of the capability at the cutting edge, to that extent I agree with Director Claus, and FNSAS and BMS are endeavors in this field. Then we have to adapt our traditional methods of command and control as brought out by General Kapoor, and protection of networks and against EW and cyber attacks, which has to be a continuing process. And lastly, but very importantly, I think some speaker in the previous session had mentioned it, our honing of HR skills. That's also an equally important aspect. Many of these issues are being addressed, and I don't think the audience here is privy to certain infrastructure development that we are going in for. The network for spectrum, which is a pan-India inter-service network, is one of them. The tactical communication system, MCCS, that is mobile cellular communication systems, WiMAX/LTE, and the ASCON Phase 4. These are some of the endeavors that are being taken in this regard. At the cutting edge, we have the BMS and FNSAS coming in, apart from the development of IP radios and SDRs. IS has done a commendable job on the common operating picture and the development of taxi QBI systems. Jointness, you are aware about the Defense Communication Network. And I believe, because a lot of talk was on about inter-service synergy, so I believe if you have a network in place, that would be a great driver towards jointness. When we didn't have the internet, I remember about 10 years back, one didn't need the internet. And when you got the internet, then you saw that what is it capable of doing for you, and thereafter you started using it. So it's my belief that once the Defense Communication Network is in place, which is a tri-service network, this would add to inter-service synergy in a great way. And somebody, I think ABM Ganesh, mentioned about incremental growth at the field level, which we are going in for, largely through revenue grants, which have been made available to us with enhanced financial powers. And a lot of these projects are coming up in the areas, especially in the operational and forward areas. Lastly, I would like to, sorry I've taken a little longer, I think. I'd like to thank Klaus for inviting me over for this valedictory session and allowing me to share my thoughts with you on a subject of considerable importance for the Indian Army and the Indian Armed Forces as a whole. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen.
It was very encouraging very heartening to hear about the progress that has been made. My allusion was only to the fact that at the national level, while the nation has made rapid strides in communications, it appears to me that the armed forces have been left behind. Our systems, like all of them that you mentioned, DCN, TCS, BMS, FNSAS, are not making the kind of progress that we would wish them to make, to be executed in an early time frame, only to that extent. May I now request General Kapoor to kindly propose a vote of thanks.
Well, once again, a very good evening to you. Ladies and gentlemen, at the end of this working day, I don't wish to go into any further technicalities of or the operational capabilities of NCW. Too much has already been said. It will take time to absorb all that. So at the end of the day, all that remains for me to say is that we thank Lieutenant General Mahapatra, a personal friend, a very good, an excellent officer, senior officer, to have accepted to come and deliver the valedictory address. And it, of course, personally for me, it was a pleasure to meet him once again. I also thank Brigadier Gurmeet Kanwal for having accepted to co-host the NCW seminar. I've thoroughly enjoyed it. And what I noticed was that unlike on many previous occasions, the questions remained very lively and most of you remained awake. So that was and of course we have, where is Harinder gone? He's already left, or is he here? So I also want to thank the Cisco for the technology partner. They were technology partner with us here for the seminar. So kindly convey it to him, please. Whoever will talk to him later, maybe Nitu, please convey it to him. Now, so that's it. We can move for tea, but before we move for tea, I must tell you something interesting. You know, you'd wonder why the good vibes between Mahapatra and self, and of course Ajay Chandele also, for that matter. We all belong to one organization. First, the War College, where Ajay and I were together, and later, and before that, the 31 Armored Division. You know, I had two outstanding commanding officers in the 31 Armored Division. One was the CO of the EME battalion, Anukul Chandra. He just retired. And what did they do? Why am I calling them outstanding? Gentlemen, that was the time when NCW was only talked about. I'm talking about the 90s, 95, 96. NCW was only talked about, mentioned in higher forums, and terminology is used, but nothing on the ground. We did not even have the mobility to move in the desert. So what did we do? I took out my tank transporters from the tank transporter platoons and converted them into our tactical headquarters so that we could move along with the tank columns and the ICV columns. And who did this job for me of converting these into mobile communication platforms and mobile headquarters? The CO of the 31 Armored Signal Regiment, then Colonel Mahapatra, and the CO of the EME Battalion. Within 15 days, we had a completely mobile headquarters, 31 Armored Division, to be able to move into the desert and try out all the desert concepts. And for the first time, that exercise Chakravyuh, which was a very major exercise in the desert of 21 Corps, took place with complete mobility, and we had no B vehicle columns in the headquarters. So that's why I say that every time I look at these people, I remember those days of excellent mobility and excellent communications. Thank you.
Please accept a set of clause publications. Thank you so much for joining us. Well, coffee is served, ladies and gentlemen. Please join us. Thank you very much.